my name is Vivian Kubrick. My father was Stanley Kubrick. I live here in Dallas, and I think I have enough experience from that aspect of being Stanley Kubrick's daughter to know that there are really some things that you have to fight very hard for. And my father's an artist, fought very hard for the integrity of his films, because even he was subject to a lot of pressure to not make the films he made. I would say 3 different sheriffs came up and they, may I demonstrate on you? They went like this. You have to look down. They literally just went like that. And I said, hey, don't push me. And they said, keep moving. And I said, I am moving. And they said, turn around. And I was like going, well, I'm walking, I'm moving. And then again, separate, 2 other ones, push me like that. I'm sorry, I keep shoving him. And it just seemed to me like, why would you be so aggressive?
This man is obviously a psychotic.
Why can't you just say, okay, everyone, would you mind just going over here? Excellent on your First Amendment rights. How about you stand over there? Because we've been told by Homeland Security or whoever told them that you can't be here. Like, why can't they be truthful? Why can't they be polite? Why can't they just be calm? Why do they have to be aggressive? I mean, I was doing nothing. And in fact, when everyone was shouting and going crazy, I mean, to be honest with you, with all love and respect, I also felt that it's wrong to shout at the police, you slaves, you scumbags, because I feel, honestly, I feel sorry for them, because I can't believe that all of them are just dead in the head. I just can't believe that.
Sure, well, let's recap from what you saw being here today for the last 2-3 hours then. We come over, it's over. There's been lawsuits filed. They had to let us in. The Dallas police said, yes, you're allowed to go in to the first perimeter, not into the final one. Then that was open for a private wreath laying for folks that don't agree with the official story. So we were supposed to be let in. They let us in. The Dallas police did. And then Homeland Security sent over their auxiliary federalized sheriff's deputies. Well, that's what happened there. Did you notice how they came in and ordered the other cops to stand back?
I wasn't looking at that. I was actually looking at each police with my sign, with my First Amendment. And I was just trying to gently smile at them, like going, hey, this is for you too, This is for everyone that you love and care about, and you too, because there isn't a police state that's ever been on this planet where everyone didn't get their ass burnt when it really got going. I mean, Hitler's regime, all the original people that were in the government or helping him, in Russia, Stalin, his mates that helped him get it. I mean, you'd think they might learn that it doesn't actually work. Tyranny just begets more tyranny until everyone's just shooting and killing each other, and it's a terrible mess, and then, thank God, it ends.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid, Dave.
And I personally, I'm just desperate for the things that are beautiful and wonderful and exalted about the American people. It should reign in this country again, instead of the incredibly obvious criminality that's going on here. I mean, it's like, you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not see what's happening. So I'm just really proud of everyone here. I don't agree that all the police are slaves. I think that they're under incredible pressure to behave.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, to behave in a way where I believe that at a certain point they're going to stop behaving that way. And I don't know what will happen then. I guess the National Guard or some other lunatics will come in and kick our heads in. But, I mean, okay, bring it on. But the change must come. And I'm praying for it.
Sure, I'm not looking for physical stuff. I want them to be free and happy. But, I mean, I got punched in the stomach first. And so they was all targeted by Homeland Security. Now that I'm not emotional, then I gave in and let them be mean to me and shove some guy's head over and over again into that and punch some person and almost knock a little girl into the ground. But then they chased us around past the barricades and attacked us again.
No, but that's the thing is that why do it? They're supposed to be peace officers, not guys being intimidating, pushing a woman who is doing nothing but doing what they're saying, shoving me in a way that if I was in a bar and I was 6'2" and a man, I'd probably get in a fight. When do you actually take on your own ability to think for yourself, even if you're in a position where you're supposed to take orders? When's that point arrive? And that's the point that these police officers need to get to, which is why I feel sad when you guys scream at them, you slaves, you f***ers, you bastards. You know, it's like, I just wish that actually, seriously, I mean, I thought about doing it and then I got shy, but I just felt like saying, listen, I don't know what you're thinking, but please stand up for what's right. They surely know what that is. We're just talking about First Amendment stuff.
Well, by the way, the Dallas police, when they came over, were like, what are you doing? They told them to let them in. And the point was that was ordered by the feds, yeah.
That's just crazy.
Federal building's right there.
Crazy. Well, anyway, listen.
Here's the top police. Here, hold on. Hey, just the guys I want to talk to. Sir, what's your name? Where do I file about the sheriff's department that was here? Oh, come on, you can talk to it. Because we can't go. So the sheriff's department's in charge here? Because they assaulted us when the Dallas police let us in. We were supposed to be let in. As you know, sir. Oh, come on, you can talk to.
Don't defend him.
You're not ignoring us because we're.
You're entering private property.
Silence is complicity.
Oh, private property. What is this, city property? Well, you're on private property. The imperious nature. I don't know who that guy is. Private property. The Dallas Police Department is private property.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Masters.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, David Knight.
I got to say, when I'm watching this on television, one of the things that has really been making me angry all day is the attitude we just saw from that cop you tried to talk to. And this is going on yesterday as well. You walk up to them, you ask them a polite question, they just ignore you like you're not even there, like you're treating you like you're trash.
Exactly.
It's that kind of arrogant attitude, and that's what's behind all this stuff. That's what we've been seeing. I'm not surprised at all to see these guys come out and attack you. They don't treat you with any respect. They have no respect for the public.
I agree. Finishing up your point, I'm sorry I broke that off when they walked by. David Knight, my co-host, was just pointing out the imperious nature. I was very polite. I wanted to say I was assaulted, and he literally knew about it because I saw him looking at us out the window all day and pointing at me and waving when he was up there. That same police officer, the guy with 2 stars on his thing, means he rules a third world country. But the point. No, I know. He used disinfo. He said public parking just to get me to leave him alone, like I wasn't allowed to be there, and then shoved my hand away.
Question, Alex.
Sure.
Why do you think they are frightened of talking to you? Because that's clearly what that is. That's fear, inhibition, unwillingness to communicate. What's that about? Why are they? I mean, maybe that's not a question you can answer, but...
No, I know why. Because they're in such a controlled culture of compartmentalization and being dominated. They just are in a position where they can dominate people under them. They get dominated from above. It's all hierarchical. And
right, but imagine that you say to him, could you explain to us why the following, whatever your question might be. Why can't he stand there? He is a public servant. He is a peace officer, right? A peace officer, a servant of the public. Why can't he communicate with you?
That's because they've put military occupation rules in where no one's allowed to talk but the public spokespeople, so it dehumanizes them. Just like they tell soldiers now, even when you're off duty in civilian clothes, don't be political, don't say what you believe in if you're against the war. Even though as a citizen the law says you're allowed to, they intimidate.
Freedom of speech, even for them. What's
That's right.
That?
Well, here, tell us.
Well, no, I mean, why don't the police have freedom of speech? Why can't they offer their opinion? They're individuals. They have individual rights. Why should they be dominated by hierarchical instruction? Now that, to my mind, if they're peace officers, if they're public servants and citizens, they should be permitted to give their opinion. So who is it that's forbidding them to speak? Honestly, I just think that they're frightened to speak, probably because of what you were saying, that they have just an incredible peer pressure on them, or more like an officer ranking pressure, where they are told you are not allowed to talk about this. I don't see why they shouldn't. They're citizens. They have every right to speak. Their police, as individuals, should not be shut up. Why should they?
Well, I mean, you talked about throughout history what happens to countries when these police states come in and tyrannies. It just gets worse and worse. In fact, I'm going to steal that quote. Tyranny begets tyranny. I'll give you credit if you want me to, but or I'll sit there and take the credit and say I came up with it. I'm joking. But the point is that tyranny begets tyranny.
And then it just spins out of control. Thank God. Excuse my expression. Because then otherwise we'd be just under permanent tyranny. But tyrannies always end, not before there isn't a great deal of suffering. And I'm just hoping that through technology, the internet, the incredible, wonderful, good work that you guys do, and other, you know, independent newscasters and individuals who talk about this and try and do things on a very grassroots level, I'm really hoping we can circumvent what seems to be almost a turnkey totalitarian state that we are just, I mean, doesn't Obama just have to call martial law and then that's it?
Well, he's already doing most stuff by executive order outside of Congress, and they've put in the internet kill switch, the total surveillance grid. They call the spy systems they've put in the battle grid. What's it called, David? You were reading it today?
It's called the BattleNet Inside.
BattleNet, yeah. And it's battle with us. It's not battle with criminals. They all skim the money off the top of that. I mean, it is just incredible. I got to say, Austin police are not anywhere as arrogant as these guys. And Dallas police aren't as bad as a lot I've seen. But, man, I tell you, Dallas citizens need to start acting like humans around the police because it's really gone to their head. I mean, a lot of these cops, some of them I can tell are listeners and wave at me and stuff, but some of them are serious mental patients. Can you imagine just walking around only on a uniform feeling powerful because you're part of a power structure?
Well, I think, you know, unconsciousness is something people really need to understand. I think, you know, people assume that everyone is fully in their own skull and present and attending life, but I think a lot of people are so profoundly disengaged, so out of communication, that they really just fall beneath a certain level of awareness, so that I don't think they're capable of actually seeing what's going on around them and making a choice for themselves that they should do a certain thing. In other words, a good thing. So anyway, that's my own.
And we were here an hour ago being attacked, and here we are now, it's all opened up. But they were supposed to open it up, and then they were just waiting for a call, even though it had already all been decided. We were following what was agreed upon. One of the head cops called and goes, yeah, that's true, let him in. And then Homeland Security, the federal building, the same federal government taken over 50 years ago today, they literally ordered auxiliary police for special unit over to attack us and tried to start a fight, but they failed, and now the info is going out. What is your overall view of the state of the world, the whole world government, the whole cybernetic systems, the whole technocracy? It is a turnkey takeover. What do you think the end game of the rulers are? Because everything I see them doing is trying to suppress human consciousness and awakening, because they know there's an awakening happening, in my view. What's your take on that?
Well, actually, it just makes me think of There Will Be Blood. Did you ever see that film?
Excellent film.
Right. I can't remember the director's name. Says John Paul Johnson something.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that one has to understand that anyone that's attracted to that level of power, I think, is already in a kind of diseased state. Very few people would ever want to get to that level of domination, power, and to get to that place, you have to do a lot of really, I think, pretty bad things. So once those people get there, and once they get that kind of power, I think that that's what you're looking at is insanity. You're just looking at individuals who are insane and so mangled in their souls that they actually have no love or appreciation for the rest of humanity. And I think that is what's happening on this planet, that those individuals have gotten to that level of power, and I think they, you know, keep on going, like the Rockefellers. I don't know how they manage to keep, you know, spawning more evil creatures, but you know, they do, and up they stay and sit on all of us, and it's repeated itself so many times throughout history. It's just now technology has given them a kind of an omnipotence that is terrifying, and that's why laws do have to be put in place. And when people say, like in England, they say, well, as long as you're behaving yourself, you've got nothing to worry about, but they don't understand that's such a simplistic viewpoint, because the very people that are protecting both intellectual, you know, domains, artistic domains, are the first ones who are going to fall victims to that system. Yeah, of course, if you're just, you know, running a shop, you know, and you're minding your own business, no one's going to come get you. But the people that really keep society moving, keep art free, and really expressing what needs to be expressed, they're the first ones to get it in the back of the neck. And it's not in the kind of obvious way that it used to be, where you just get poisoned, stabbed, or whatever. You get sort of like intimidated, or you get dropped out of a circle of artists that would have otherwise been, you know, backed with money, or you won't get spoken about in the newspaper. I mean, it's a very subtle way of just eliminating you from the scene. But when you have those monitoring systems that we, you know, like the NSA, thank God for Edward Snowden. Bless his heart. Jesus. I mean, I can't imagine the embarrassment. Oh, that was the other thing. How about Obama putting, what's his name? James, what's his face? At the head of the NSA?
Oh, absolutely. James Clapper.
Right. In charge of the independent committee that's going to investigate the NSA.
That's like having Hitler over Nuremberg, but expanding on those key points you're making, because you're really on target with that. The bad guys want all the intel so you can't expose their criminal operations, and they use the intel on you, like Google sells the data it's come out to all the shops online, so that when you go to a shop, they know you have more money. The cookie shows it, the prices are higher. Like, I could do that with my shopping cart. I could buy that data, that metadata they call it, from Google, that cookie data, and then when they come to the Infowars.com shop, it would have a higher price. No, I'm serious. That's one example of what the panopticon technology can do.
What did you say, panopticon?
It's a French term, you know, for the round prison, and then they would have a tower where the guards could always watch you. Panopticon, panopticonic.
Oh, well, I think the crucial thing is that we have to, as individuals, really, really support the Constitution, because that is the most unique, nowhere else has it really, I think maybe different countries have copied it, it's the most unique declaration of real spiritual rights. And it is a spiritual thing. I mean, how many of us, you know, have different opinions, but the bottom line is that real independence, freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, with a great regard to helping and being of service. Because I don't think, you know, people should just feel free that they can just go around and clock people on the head and go, yeah, well, I'm free, I'm going to clock people on the head.
No, it's libertarian. You're free to do everything you want until it hurts somebody else or crosses onto there. But, I mean, this is like Clockwork Orange, though, because they are hiring the criminals to be the police now. What we saw today, not all of them, but that key group at the middle that attacked first.
It's impossible. I don't believe it.
A job for two who are now of job age. The police.
You know, I have to tell you, I just felt really sad when I saw them turn up. I just thought, really? It's going to come to this? We're talking about the First Amendment? Actually, I want to just say, there was a New Zealand TV lady that was there yesterday, and I stood behind her with my sign with the First Amendment. She said, don't stand there, you know, you're blocking everything. And I said, well, I'm just stand back here. And anyway, we got into a little thing over it, and she didn't want me to be in the picture with her. And she said, look, I'm not having some lunatic stand behind me with a sign. I said, lunatic? I said, I'm defending the First Amendment. You know, it's like the assumption that to be out here expressing yourself is an act of lunacy. I would say that's a pretty good indication of how totally distorted reality has become for the people who are supposed to be defending truth, right? Reporters.
Sure. I mean, I know you've been interviewed before by the media. You're obviously a famous filmmaker in your own right, and I love that score that you did on Full Metal Jacket. That's my favorite ever. That's so haunting. What would your dad, I know you're taking that question, but I'd love to know, what would your dad with his great artist mind to see real reality, what would he think about what America's turned into? Because his films predicted it.
Well, I was saying to you last night, I feel that my father was very haunted by those factions on this planet that try to manipulate humanity. I think the films that he made, he wanted people to think for themselves, experience for themselves, whatever it meant to them. But I would say that if you look at every film he made, it certainly addressed all these things that we're speaking about. I mean, Clockwork Orange, thought control, you know, anti-war films, the fact that war is just pure slaughter, that it's got nothing to do with any of the usual things that they send people out.
Dr. Strangelove?
Yellow.
Whole point of the Doomsday Machine is lost. If you keep it a secret, why didn't you tell the world, eh?
Any other final points you'd like to make? Because those are really a lot of thought-provoking things you're saying. I believe there's an awakening happening. I see it. The system's scared, and so that's why they are really trying to suppress us. And it's just more key than ever that everybody start resisting in little ways, lovingly, but also aggressively when we have to, so that there's no way they can stop all of us. It's essential to stop the evil from totally taking over. Because you can see it's trying to take over because it can see the end is near.
Yeah, I think the important thing that you're outlining here is that people have to learn how to confront evil and not to alter it or to lessen it and to somehow, you know, go, well, I'm sure they didn't mean to push you. It's like, well, you know, you need to face, you need to confront and really properly look at what's happening and not try and explain it away or give it justifications or anything, because at this juncture, we still, by our fingernails, have the chance to make a difference and turn this around, and to not take part and to just watch. You know, I mean, it's a little scary, believe me. I was a little scared when those sheriffs turned up. But if you don't stand there and push back, not in a stupid, aggressive way, but if you don't push back, if you don't face it and confront it for what it is, it'll just take over, and then no one will be free.
Well, you're right, and the power structure's made the calculation that we're cowards, we've given up, we're going to roll over. They do stuff like that so people don't come out and demonstrate against wars. What happened at the G20. They do that so people see people being attacked, they get scared, so that they can then take over everybody's freedom. That's why you've got to go out and do this and face the fear and get through it. It's actually kind of fun to fight tyranny, so why not? So that they understand that they've miscalculated and that it's going to backfire. But tyrants always miscalculated. Even though they have this mind of God, Google, NSA spy grid, they're not gods. They can't read that info because they're so evil. How could they, who are so unenlightened, ever think that they could read all the data they're getting? Because the data only shows that their system's already failing.
I would just like to add that I think to describe it as evil is to give it certainly an adjective to describe it. It certainly results in evil. But I think the important thing is it's an incredible degree of insanity, because only insanity would breed acts that are so destructive and harmful. And, you know, when you think of the destruction of the animals and the environment and the corporations that just seem to gaily, you know, stride forward through every decade, destroying everything.
Why aren't they even worried about Fukushima now when it's melting down even worse? They don't even care anymore. 91% of the reactors are leaking.
Insanity. Look, if you're really insane, you have no grasp or care for what's going on. And I think that's what this is. It's like organized insanity. And I think people need to recognize that and realize there's a lot more sane people. I would say there's probably about, you know, billions of sane people on this planet, and just a very few nutters. And it's those nutters that have to be regulated, because obviously one can't just sort of like blow them off the face of the earth, which, you know, I wish a couple of angelic beings would come along and go, ooh, you're really crazy, right, off the planet you go. But
those bad guys are here to test us.
I've no idea, but what I would really like is regulations and laws, because those work pretty well. Right now, we've had those laws and rights and the Constitution blown away by the, you know, Patriot Act.
That's right. They've gotten rid of the good laws and put in all the tyranny.
Right, and I think that we've got to try really hard and pay attention and spend an hour maybe every day looking online and, hey, let me help you. And actually, you know, do your research.
Well, you know what you're doing with that equipment.
I do, but that was just a cable. Anyway, I just really implore people to really just pull their finger out and do a little bit of work. That's your job now. Yep. You know, it's a new job. Yep. It's not enough to be a citizen, because there's too much organization to dismantle your position as a citizen. You have to do something different now. What?
Oh, that's key. They're trying to dismantle our real citizenship and our machinery of freedom. And so what do?
I think we actually have to take on, and this is the hard part, everyone, you're going to have to operate using your own awareness, your own, you have to think for yourself, and you have to dig down deep into your soul and work up enough courage to do things about it. Even if it's just you sign some petitions, you listen to Alex, you know, for instance, The Guardian. What's his face? Granwell. I mean, that guy.
They may arrest him when he gets back to the U.S.
I don't know what to say other than it's just so insane.
Everybody should be rallying around him.
Yes, absolutely. Edward Snowden, I love you. I think you're an incredibly brave man, and anyone who says you aren't that you aren't patriotic, well, you're not thinking for yourself if you say he's not patriotic, because he's actually... Look, the German government, right? They've all issued themselves encrypted cell phones now. Even they're bloody pissed off at being monitored.
Well, that's the thing. You get rid of checks and balances and freedom, it always blows back. The tyrants, you don't escape it. You've got to give everybody a respect and liberty and freedom, because your kids have it too. When someone robs your neighbor's freedom, they're robbing your freedom.
I think the important part is that everyone, regardless of your position, regardless of whether everyone that you know thinks you're a complete extremist or lunatic, the fact is that when you start to think for yourself, it'll be easy to know what the right thing to do is. If you follow what you're being spoon-fed, well, you're not going to help.